Welcome to the Brews and Appraisal Views podcast, where we blend the art of appraising with a touch of insight and a dash of humor. Whether you're a trainee, a seasoned professional, or just curious about the appraisal world, you've come to the right place. So grab your favorite brew, relax, and join us for some expert tips, real-world stories, and valuable advice to help grow your appraisal business. I'm your host, Dan Lindeman, certified appraiser serving South Florida for over 20 years. Hey, welcome back, appraisers. Today we have Donna Halfpenny from the Chicago area appraiser, and we wanted to talk about appraiser safety. Thanks for joining us, Donna.
Hi, Dan. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Thanks for being on. Do you want to give a brief intro about you, your business, what kind of work you do up there, your residential, commercial, how long you've been in business, stuff like that?
Sure. I am a residential real estate appraiser and a real estate broker just outside of Chicago. I've been in the professions for 38 years.
So you're a broker as well?
Yes,
do you do
am.
A lot of sales?
No, I do not.
Just like part-time stuff that comes up?
Yes, I pretty much only do the brokerage on a referral basis. I like appraising much more. I don't have the needed patience to be doing the brokerage side all the time.
I completely agree. I also have my broker's license, and I just take listings from friends and family because I cannot deal with, I don't like dealing long-term with clients. I'm best suited for the appraisal world. So you reached out to me. We wanted to talk about personal safety, and we have a checklist of 15 items that appraisers can do on a daily basis. But what I wanted to start off with is your story. What recently happened to you to spur this personal safety discussion?
I brought this up to you because I had an experience that I hope I will never have again, and I hope no one else ever has to experience. I went to do an appraisal. The homeowner was a gentleman who had some health issues. And when my client informed me, I stated that I would make it as easy as possible for him physically, so he didn't need to follow me around the property and all those things. I was informed that he would be the one property owner would be home alone when this took place. So when I got there, I introduced myself to the owner and assured him I would check back with him after each floor to see if he needed anything or had any questions. And I went ahead and started on the first floor, did my observation, and went and checked on him. He had no questions. I went on to the second floor. And as I'm just completing the second floor and ready to descend the stairs, I hear yelling from what sounded like a female and the male making noises. And it was the type of yelling that really makes you feel that there's something going on that shouldn't be. So as I was running down the stairs, I saw a woman run across the room and attacking the man, hitting him, punching him, yelling at him, all these types of things. So I ran down the stairs, threw my stuff down. Thankfully, with my phone, I was able to call 911, voice prompted. So I proceeded to remove the woman from beating the man.
When you say remove, what do you mean remove?
I pulled her off of him. This was an older gentleman who had just recently been released from the hospital and had a lot of health issues going on. So I was not about to stand by and watch any person just get beat on. He was just sitting on the couch, not doing anything. He didn't antagonize this. This woman literally ran across the room and jumped on him.
And how old the gentleman was? Older? Elderly?
Yes, he was.
And the person attacking him was how old?
I am not really sure, but I would say maybe late 50s.
Wow.
Maybe early 60s. But I was as I said, 911 was already called. Siri actually worked well for a change. So the dispatcher heard what was happening, and I was giving her the necessary information, and I knew the police would be on the way. But in the meantime, after I got this woman off of the gentleman, I was trying to hold her and just keep her away from him. And she was fighting me, trying to get back at him. And I remembered that we were right by the entry and there was a coat closet. So I ended up pushing the woman into the closet and closing the door.
Oh my God.
It was definitely an experience. It was scary, but I don't really think I gave myself an opportunity to think about it. I was just worried about this person being hurt. I didn't know if she had any weapons on her or anything like that. In the end, it turns out she didn't even know who I was or why I was there. But the police came. She didn't even close the door behind her. The police came and they came right in. Well, I'm pushed against the door trying to keep her in the closet because she was fighting, trying to get out.
Wow.
In the end, it turns out that this was going to be the person's ex-wife. So it was a divorce appraisal. And she was not supposed to have access to the property.
Oh.
Somehow she did gain access, and they had recently changed the locks on the home to have the keyless entry. So they don't know how she obtained the combination to get in the property.
So did you know it was a divorce, or you were there for like a refi or something? What were you there for?
It was for a divorce appraisal.
Wow.
And I did confirm with my client, the attorney, that there would be no one else at the property except for the male owner.
Yeah. Wow.
So seeing something like this happen just made me more aware of the risks that appraisers face. Granted, in all of my years, this is the first time something like this has happened, but we never know what we're going to encounter. It could be minor things like broken stairs or accidentally stepping into a window well. Things happen, but it's just a reminder that safety has to be a key issue we need to pay attention to.
Right. I completely agree. Yeah, the people outside of the people, yeah, you actually I've tripped over before on properties. I fell down. You're right. Sometimes the property is the problem.
Right.
And you need to be aware of your surroundings, which is really, really important.
Right. And sometimes it's our own fault that something might happen, but we still have to be extra careful.
Absolutely. That is a crazy, crazy story. So you immediately ran downstairs, and did you have the chills? Did your adrenaline just kick in? Because that seemed, I don't know if a lot of people would do that. Just run over there and immediately pull them off.
The adrenaline definitely kicked in, and it was probably midnight before I was calm enough from the experience that happened.
Right.
I was able to give the police the information that they needed, all the details, all the information that they needed to handle the situation properly. And after I did my part, I went and sat in my car and was just sitting there for quite a few minutes. And it was a really warm day outside, enjoying the air conditioning. And a police officer came over and asked me, how far do I need to travel? Do I need to go to another appointment? Do I need a ride home? Should they provide me a way to get home? Am I sure I'm okay to drive? I assured him I was. I said I just needed a couple minutes to calm down and cool off, and I would be good. And I promised them I would not drive if I did not feel I was able.
Wow. And is there any follow-up that you heard from the officer or anything like that? Have you read any charges that this person had filed against him? Have you followed up at all?
I've gotten some information. I had some of the information that came to me in a couple of days following was the woman actually did have a weapon on her. She was not supposed to have access to the home. They still were not able at that time to figure out how she obtained the code. The homeowner insisted that they used a code that was not birthdays, important dates, addresses, phone numbers, things like that. They said they believed that she possibly somehow cracked into the system to be able to gain access. I don't know if that's accurate, but she received multiple charges: the weapons charge, not having a registered firearm, assault, battery, and then also assaulting the police officers when she was let out of the closet.
Ooh, yeah, that charge will get you every time hitting a
Yes.
cop.
Yes. So I know she was in jail, and I was sent some information that I will be testifying in court when this all goes to trial. But one huge important fact was I recused myself from the appraisal. I did not want to take the chance that anyone involved would claim that I could no longer be unbiased because of what took place.
And I think you would be biased. I think you would want that appraisal to benefit that the husband because the wife was crazy. I didn't, maybe not intentionally, but I think that bias would still be there. If you didn't, I think it's great that you recused yourself.
I think I still would be able to be unbiased, but I'm not willing to put myself at that potential risk of someone making a claim. It's
right
there. Sometimes the best appraisal is the one we do not complete. And this is definitely a circumstance that I would not contemplate completing that appraisal.
Wow. Have you ever had any other experiences where you felt uncomfortable or something gave you the chills or something else happened in the appraisal process? Because I have a whole bunch just thinking off the top of my head of stuff that happened to me.
Let me hear one of yours, please.
When I was doing a lot of foreclosure work, routinely having homeless people in vacant homes, that really can scare the crap out of you when you're going through a home that's supposed to be vacant and you come upon a room, even properties that aren't vacant, and you see like drug paraphernalia in the house, like somebody broke in, they may not be there now. That always gives me the chills.
Definitely.
What are some other ones? I've been chased. Taking comp pictures is like the biggest thing that gets people going the most. Like I've taken some of police officers' homes and I've been chased down by like an unmarked cars trying to ask me what I was doing in the neighborhood. And I'm like, what does this car want? Like, what's going on? And a cop gets out and it's like, why are you taking a picture of my house? You know, I'm like, dude, I'm just an appraiser. Calm down. Like, Gabe, that makes your heart race a lot.
Yes, definitely. Another one that comes to my mind is I was taking comp pictures and I had the listing sheet in my hand and a business card, and there was someone out in the yard doing yard work, and I slowly and casually walked up to the person with the papers in my hand and went to try and explain that I'm an appraiser. I just need to take a photo. He did not want to hear any of it, and he chased me back to my car with an active end of a weed whacker.
Oh my God.
I did not realize I could still move so fast.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Florida man story. Somebody chasing me with a weed whacker. Not Chicago.
I actually had one. I had my boyfriend with me. I was taking comp pictures, and it was on a Saturday, and I figured, well, I'll go shoot these pictures, and we were going to go to lunch. One of the photos, and he's like, well, aren't you going to stop and take the photo? No, I'm not. I drove to the end of the block and took a photo of the street signs. He's like, well, why didn't you do it? Just because there were people outside? Not necessarily, but evidently he didn't see the gun sticking out of the back of one of the gentleman's pants.
Oh, wow.
So that made him feel better that I really am aware of my surroundings and I try and pay attention, and I want to keep myself safe and him too.
Yeah, especially in those areas that are really like crime ridden. I know we're but those are dangerous sometimes when you have your window open and you're throwing your hand out there with a camera or something like that, or your phone. That's the last thing you want to be doing, is taking pictures when there's people around and you're doing that in some of the more crime ridden areas. It's really it's scary. I think it's I just don't really do it anymore.
I actually, quite a few years ago, had the police show up when I was working in the actual office. The state police actually showed up to question me because they tracked my car and found my information and were questioning me. And they got a report that I was aiming a gun out my window. It wasn't
Oh
a
my
gun,
god.
it was my camera. They
Oh my
searched, I said, I have no problem. They searched me. They searched my vehicle. I'm like, there's no weapon. And I explained who I was and what I was doing. And I showed them the camera, and they said it definitely explains it. And they actually had some camera footage. They had gone back later from a neighbor and got some camera footage that showed that it was not a weapon.
Yeah, I've gotten those calls from I've gotten calls. No officers showed up at my property, but I've gotten those calls like, "Hey, were you in Plantation? This is the plant, like the city I was in. Were you in this city doing taking pictures?" I'm like, "Yeah, why?" They're like, "Well, residents have been calling about you," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just doing an appraisal." They're like, "Oh, okay, all right. Well, if we get any more calls, we'll
Yeah. And part of the problem, even some appraisers say, well, you should have a sign on your car. Signage doesn't always work. When I went to go and take that photo where I was chased with the weed whacker, I had signage on my car. It was clearly visible. Signs don't always help.
Yeah, and nobody's reading them, and they don't know maybe what an appraiser does, so they have no idea. So I don't think signage is going to stop people from chasing you.
Exactly.
Um, well, down here we don't have any. I'm in South Florida. We don't have any very rural areas, so I could just imagine some of those rural appraisers going down, these back roads or whatever, and a lot of private property. That must be the most dangerous part, trying to take comp pictures.
Definitely. And I'm glad they're
Um,
doing away, at least for the most part, with that requirement in the near future.
yeah,
But still, what if you're the appraiser and you need to see the property because the MLS photos didn't disclose everything?
right. Yeah, you're still putting yourself out there. It definitely has the components of being dangerous at times.
Definitely.
You came up with like a 15-point checklist. Do you want to go over some of those right now?
Sure.
All right. So the first one is share your schedule. What do you
Yes.
do? How do you share your schedule? What do you do?
I have two people that have access to my appraisal schedule so they can see, for example, if I disappear, they can go back to my schedule and figure out when was the last time that I communicated with somebody or interacted. So they should have an idea of at least where I was.
That's good. I normally have Live 360 on my phone, or family has it, so I have my location on there. But if I know I'm going to a more dangerous area, I'll tell my wife, I'm like, hey, I'm at this address if you don't hear from me in like an hour.
I've done that as well.
Yeah. So here's another one. This is a good one. Request an escort if needed. I have one of these next Wednesday where the police are escorting the wife into the house because the husband won't give access, so the wife can get a police escort to go in the house.
Definitely. Your safety has to be paramount.
And that happens quite a bit. I do a lot of divorce work, and maybe once a year, maybe, or twice a year, there's an officer accompanying you if they have restraining orders against each other or stuff like that, and or any other issues. So exactly. I don't mind the officer being there. It's the safest thing with divorce work is having the officer there.
Right. And in my situation that I explained earlier, the attorney was so apologetic. And he said, if I had any idea that something like this would have happened, we would have had either the police or security for you. They
For
had
sure.
no clue that something like this was going to happen.
That is absolutely crazy. I actually had witnessed one. I witnessed one spouse hitting the other spouse in the face. But it was the wife hitting the husband, and the husband he's just like, well, I'm not going to do anything about this because I'm a man or something like that. And I'm like, okay, buddy. Meanwhile, the wife hired me, and I'm like, what do I do here? So I just went about the assignment, and the husband just like retreated back to the den or whatever. But she hit him in the face. She hit him when he was
Wow.
trying to ask me questions.
That's unfortunate. And that honestly, it's abuse, and she should be reported.
It
It
it was
goes both
interesting.
ways. It's not just male on female. It goes both ways.
Yeah. But the way he reacted was really, it's like, I'm not going to do this because I'm a man. I'm not going to do anything about this because I'm a man. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to ahead and measure the house right now.
That had to be awkward for you.
It was very awkward. He had his laptop. I remember clear as day. He had his laptop out there, putting it in my face. He's like, hey, look at these reports. Look at these reports. I'm like, I'm not well, send me the reports. He's like, I'm not going to send them to you, but they'll come out in court. I'm like, buddy, I'm not. If you want to send me something, I'll gladly look at it. But you do you. And then at that time, the wife came out, and she's like, stop talking to him. And she shoved him and then hit him. I was like, wow. Oh. So back to the list. Announce yourself clearly, especially on vacant homes.
Yes, because sometimes they're not vacant.
Correct. Like when they say they're vacant, well, one, if an agent always gives me a lockbox or a super or something and says, oh yeah, here's the combo, I always ask that, is the property vacant? Just so I know what I'm walking into. Yes. And then if it is vacant, I always announce myself. The appraiser's here. Please don't shoot me. That's exactly what I say.
Yes. And then I usually on vacant properties, even if it's one of the parties that's, they're supposed to be at work or whatever the case is, I'm still announcing myself because I've had instances where somebody just, is exiting the bathroom after a shower and had no idea I was supposed to be there.
And part of my routine, if somebody is home, I said, okay, I'm going to walk around to each room. I'll walk around a second time to take pictures. And then, is there anybody sleeping in any of the bedrooms? That's the question I always ask, because that's the last thing I want to do is startle somebody isn't expecting somebody to come in their room. That's the last thing I want to do.
Exactly. And
once in a while, there's always an adult kid who happens to be home that the parent didn't know about.
Yes.
Yeah. Number 4, stay aware of your surroundings. This goes back to being aware of any hazards at the property.
Yes.
Yeah. New construction's bad for this too. Like I think that's probably where you're prone to get hurt the most.
New construction, nails on the ground that can end up going through somebody's shoe or boot and causing, damage to them personally. Things like falling into window wells. I actually, unfortunately, had that happen. It was a very snowy day. There was a lot of snow on the ground, and I did not know that there were window wells only on one side of the property, and I accidentally fell in it.
Oh, did you get injured?
I just had a bruise. No big deal, but it wasn't exactly easy to get out of it.
So I may say, we have 0 window wells in South Florida and 0 snow. But I will say maybe the weather is probably the most dangerous when it's thunderstorm season. Every afternoon, it's always thundering and lightning out for like 30 minutes. So lightning strikes may be the number 1 most dangerous thing down here, not snow or windowsills or window.
Definitely. And also you have to be aware because there might be a nosy neighbor who's going to be coming at you in a less than polite manner, accusing you of trying to scope the property so you can rob it, or, whatever crazy things people come up with. But that's another reason to always be aware.
For sure. And I may jump ahead on a list a little bit because I see something that I wanted to go over. But on
Okay.
vacant properties, I always you put lock the door behind you on one of them. On vacant properties, I take the opposite approach because I don't want to be locked in that house if there's somebody in there. I want
Agree.
my quickest way out. But that does let people walk in after you if you leave the door open. Because I've
Yes.
had neighbors come in and asking what they're doing. So that's the most startling thing when you're like upstairs in one of the rooms and you hear somebody walking in and talking.
Yes. And also, for real estate agents and those of us appraisers who are actually realtors, there is also concern because if, for example, if there was a showing of the property, they technically should not be allowed into the property unless they themselves open the lockbox.
Correct. Yeah,
So
correct.
that's another thing to just keep in mind.
So as an agent, our local association gives the agents a free membership to this company called Forewarn,
Yes.
where you can put somebody's phone number in there and it can pull up like their criminal history and stuff just based on their phone number.
Yes.
So like if an agent's meeting with somebody, they don't know who it is, they can put the number in there just to see if there's actually evidence of who they are. If there's like if there's no information comes up, it's like a Google number or something.
Yes.
But they can see the criminal history of the person they're meeting, the age of them, their full name, and all that. So
that's a very good resource.
I do use that sometimes.
Yes.
Secure your vehicle. Have you ever had any instances where people were trying to get in your car?
I actually had someone try and steal my car.
Oh.
It was a week old and I was out doing an appraisal, and this gentleman decided he wanted my car or access to my car. He was attempting to break the window. That turned into a big ordeal, and I was not very smart in some ways, because I saw what was happening and I started screaming. Thankfully, a mail carrier heard and saw what was happening, and he came over to assist. Well, my less than intelligent self at that moment decided to try and fight this very large gentleman. And in the process, I broke his nose because the police were already called.
So you broke his, did you hit him? What did you do?
I punched him right in the face.
Oh my God.
He ended up getting arrested and going to jail. And it was funny because he wanted charges pressed against me.
He was committing a forcible felony.
Yes. And, the mail carrier was a witness, and the police had a pretty good interaction with him and said, you want to press charges against this tiny little, person? And he was like 6'5" and 325 pounds.
Donna, all I see is your head. Are you jacked under your sweater? That's all I can see. Do you work? You work out a lot? You're breaking guys' nose and pulling people off people.
My car was a week old. I loved that car. It was nothing special. It's a Honda Accord Coupe. I just love that car. It was so comfortable. And I just didn't want to deal with the insurance implications from it. It was a week old. They were going to be like, yeah, sure, it was stolen. I'm only 5'3".
That's surprising.
I'm only 5'3", but adrenaline kicks in and sometimes makes us think irrationally.
Wow, good for you. I didn't expect that one. The only time I really worry about securing my car at an appointment is if I stop somewhere like at a store or something after, and I have my equipment that I just in the car, and I don't want to get it taken, because if my files get taken or something, I'm like, crap. That's probably the worst case scenario.
We have to be concerned because, a lot of us use tablets or laptops and all that type of stuff, plus confidential information that can be within our files.
That's right.
So it's, sometimes it's as simple as hide your laptop, your whatever under the seat, and make sure the door is locked. Don't leave the windows open.
Keep your phone charged. That's another big one, especially even for breaking down or anything.
Definitely.
Now it goes without saying. Yeah. And then leave if you feel unsafe is number 7.
Yes, always. Your safety comes first. If you have a reason to feel that you might be in harm's way, you can call and reschedule, with having the police escort with you or whatever steps you need to do, or you can recuse yourself.
I don't know if I've ever left because I felt unsafe. I can't recall off the top of my head. When is that? I recall leaving a property just because the owner was an asshole, and I'm like, I don't even want to deal with this guy. So I'm like, yep, you can find another appraiser. I can't deal with this.
Yep.
But not for safety, just for people being jerks. Knock before entering rooms. Yes, that is a really, really good one.
Yes, you never know what you might walk in on.
Yep. Even though I ask people if there's anybody sleeping in the bedrooms, if that door is shut, I knock on the door as well.
Yes.
Before I enter it. Another question I ask too when I come to the property is, because I always start on the outside, I say, ask if any of the fences are open, then ask if there's any dogs or anything that'll bite me in the backyard.
Yes.
Because I've only been bitten by a dog twice, and thankfully it was just like a nip.
I've only had that happen once. And although it was a little nip, I ended up with an infection, but things happen, and I don't blame the animals. I blame their owners. The dog doesn't bite. The dog doesn't bite.
Carry legal safety devices. I assume guns is in that list.
Whatever you feel is necessary to protect yourself, and as long as it is legal in your state, because states have such varying laws regarding these things.
Well, our state just allowed open carry.
I didn't know that.
Without a permit, so you can have open carry without a permit.
Well, I'm in Illinois, and that doesn't fly here.
So I do have a concealed carry permit that I've taken my gun. I carry it in my car for the most part, but I on ones that I feel like raises to the level, I always carry it. I always carry it in with me.
And, for some people, it can be something as simple as pepper spray. If you feel that's sufficient for you and, it will give you a chance to get away, do whatever works for you.
Exactly. All right. So lock the door behind you. So is that what you do? You lock the door behind you?
I usually do, but it depends on the property. So
what would you do? All right. What would you do if you walked into a situation where somebody was in the back of the house? Would you be? That's what I'm fearful of. That I need to run out as quick as possible.
In some circumstances, it really depends on my mood and my physical feeling that day. If I'm having a bad day and my back hurts or I hurt my knee, I will definitely leave it open. I just play it by ear. But a lot of times, but not all times, the door should be locked. It also prevents others from gaining access.
Yeah. When I say I leave the door open, I leave the door open, unlocked and open on a vacant house. I personally do. I leave it open just so I don't have to take that extra step.
Yes, understood.
Always assume you're being recorded.
Voice and video. So don't be walking around the house and talking to yourself and, saying things you don't want others to hear.
So I just did one. It was a partition case, and the attorney met me because her client couldn't be there and she wanted her to look at the house. She hasn't been there in years. So the attorney walked with me and she's like, be careful of that camera right there. And I actually said this. I said, I assume there's cameras everywhere on every property that I walk onto, and I'm being recorded the entire time.
Exactly.
That's what you have to assume.
Exactly.
And I guarantee you on a heavy litigation case, they're going to use something against you if you're at that property doing something you shouldn't have. They can see what you did around the property. If you missed a step here and there, I'm sure it can be used against you.
Definitely. And unfortunately, I remember a case of a supposed appraiser. I never looked into it to see if this was a licensed professional who had an incident with a Tickle Me Elmo doll. Always assume you are on camera, and that video was used against him.
Yeah. I don't even go to the bathroom in people's homes. Like I will never, even a vacant house, I will not even ask people to use the bathroom at all because I don't know what these weirdos are doing or recording or anything like that.
Right. I think I've done it maybe 3 times in my decades because sometimes you just have no choice, and you know, you drank too much water or coffee or whatever, and sometimes, we're human, sometimes we have to go, but we always try and avoid it.
And consider wearing a body cam. Do you wear one, or do you have one, like a dash cam in your car or anything like that?
I have a body cam. I have not used it for appraising, but it's something I have been giving much more thought to, especially after the incident with the homeowner.
I would have loved to see that footage.
Oh, one other thing. That home actually did have cameras in it, so all of it was caught on video.
Oh, excellent. That should make the case a slam dunk.
Yes, hopefully.
Document occupancy clues. What do you mean by that one?
If you see a different name on the mailbox than what's on your paperwork, who's supposed to be a tenant or the owner, sometimes something as simple as a name on a mailbox can give away that might not be occupied by who they claim it is.
Right. And on the appraiser side, it's always important just to double check because tenants will let you in the property, even though it's the wrong property. They'll just be like, oh, okay, the owner said it's this. I've appraised 2 of the wrong properties in my career. One was a court and I was on street, and the other one, I just screwed up the numbers somehow and just
I've
went to
done
the
that
wrong
too.
property.
Definitely.
And,
that's a very good example of why, to pay attention to things.
Right. And then communicate your ETA.
Yes. If you're going to be late for an appointment, have the courtesy to let the people know. And this also goes for properties on lockboxes, because if you're honestly going to an appointment that was scheduled for 10 a.m. and you're not showing up until 4 o'clock, that can be construed in many areas as trespassing.
Right. And it's unprofessional too. And I've fallen into that category. Sometimes, like if I schedule it a super and it's vacant and I go at a different time, sometimes the agent does show up if they know if that's what time I schedule. And it always ends up like, if I don't keep that appointment, it always ends up bad for me. Like the appraiser didn't come, but meanwhile I was there an hour later. But it's very unprofessional.
Yeah,
too.
it still looks bad on the appraiser because you had an appointment time, say between 10 and 10:30. Well, if it's a Supra, they have the digital information of what time you actually showed up, and it does make you look unprofessional.
Yep.
It's simple. There's no reason to not communicate and say, I'm running late or my schedule changed. Is 3 o'clock okay instead of 10 o'clock? And especially if there's owners in the property or tenants, they don't want to be surprised because somebody shows up later. Things happen.
I agree. And finally, here we have carry personal safety items. What's in your appraisal safety kit?
We kind of already covered this one. There are things from pepper spray, bear spray, a firearm,
mask, gloves, flashlights, sanitizer, shoe covers.
Yes, extra boots. And I don't know if it's the same in Florida, but here, extra rain boots, because what if you are walking through a yard and it's, it had been raining nonstop for 2 days. Well, your feet are going to be covered in mud. You want to be able to change your shoes. Plastic bags, paper towels. I've even found that a screwdriver is helpful to remove the caked on mud from the bottom of shoes or boots.
Nice.
I actually even usually have a change of clothes in my car, not necessarily professional clothes, even a pair of gym shoes and a pair of sweats and a sweatshirt. I had an instance where I was at a new construction and the construction person that was walking with me slipped. And when he slipped and was falling, his leg hit me in the back of the knees. So I fell, and my entire backside from head to toe was covered in mud.
Oh my God.
And it was funny. Neither of us were injured, but we were just so covered in mud. You know, they gave me one of their construction shirts so I could wear that home. And luckily I had a gym bag that had some things in it, but not all things. But yeah, using a hose outside to get the mud out of my hair was interesting.
That's funny. I normally carry a mask because I do a lot. Sometimes if there's a foreclosure or a property that's been vacant a while and there's mold in the property that the agent says, so I carry a mask in my car just in case. Flashlight, yeah, I have that on my phone. I don't normally bring. I wear boots, but they're normally okay. I just take them off if they're caked in mud at the door. But clothing, I remember once when I was doing a lot of foreclosures back in the day. I went to one property that was vacant, but it was still like furnished and like the people just left. And I'm walking, and at that time I was wearing shorts and I was walking around the house and I just felt something on my legs and I was like, what is this? And I looked down, I was covered in fleas. So that property, I went outside, stripped down to my underwear in the front and tried to wipe off as many fleas as I could and shake off my clothes and put them in my trunk. And I drove home in my underwear because I didn't know what else to do. I didn't have any other clothes and I didn't want to take fleas home with me.
Yes, I had a similar instance. And now when the weather permits, flea spray is another thing that I keep in my vehicle. I had a similar experience and I used it, but still when I got home, I stripped outside my back door before going in because I didn't want to bring the fleas in. But flea spray is another good thing to contemplate.
Yeah. All right. So that covers all the 15. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Safety related?
Nothing I can think of at the moment.
All right.
Well, I want everybody to be safe.
Yes. And this document that we went over, I'll somehow share it in the show notes, or we'll share it on social media too. So everybody can get out there and please feel free to comment anybody, like what are some additional things that were missed? Because I'm sure there's lots of stuff that we missed.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's not a comprehensive list. These are just some things that we've thought of to cover. And again, we never know when we can experience a safety issue for ourselves or our vehicles even. We just have to always be aware of what's going on. You don't need to be paranoid. You don't need to be scared. Just be vigilant. Pay attention to what's going on around you.
Excellent. Excellent words of advice. With that, Donna, I appreciate you joining me today, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Thanks so much. Have a good one.
Thanks for joining us on the Brews and Appraisal Views podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode and found some value in it, which you can apply to your appraisal business. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and leave a review. It really helps us reach more appraisers like you. For more tips and to connect with other appraisers, visit referappraisals.com. Until next time, keep brewing up success in your business, and I'll catch you on the next episode.